OTG, man, you're always here. First one in. So I am going to make the kids breakfast. Miss West Texas had a doctor's appointment today, a kind of a last minute doctor's appointment. So she had to go do that, and I'm getting the kids fed and got some laundry drying. I had to take another day off work, and I got to take the oldest to the star testing that they're doing. So, yeah. I have no idea what star testing is, but OTG, are you sure that's your social security number, or it looks a heck of a lot like my phone number? And besides, you don't have to worry about your social security number in here. There ain't nobody watches this stuff. So, yeah. So that's what I got going on today. A whole lot of nothing. Let me trying to cut these. Jack those up. Anyways. Gonna make some breakfast type burritos. I'm trying not to cut my finger off, so then I don't have to make an emergency visit to the doctor's office. Boy, that's just my luck, right? God, I'm starting to think this is turning into more of a cooking show than a silver and gold show. Hey, Captain. Man, how are you doing, Herman? Good morning. But you know, it kind of is what it is, you know. We could all sit here and talk about silver and gold till the sky comes down, and it's going to be a boring subject. The girls painted some pet rocks the other day, and that was last night. They did some pet rocks. That was fun for them. But you know, it's trying to get some of these younger cats to come in and be interested. You know, I mean, you can flex Jordans, you can flex whatever you want, but you know, they don't. They're going to wake up one of these days and realize that all that stuff wears out, man. All those shoes and fancy clothes and designer wallets and bags and expensive colognes and perfumes. All that stuff just goes away, right? Y'all buy the dips. I picked up a little bit of silver. I've been kind of buying steady, you know, this whole time. So just kind of keeping it steady, and we haven't really jumped back into any crypto. That XRP, I don't know. That stuff's just kind of got me worried a little bit. So maybe we'll put a little more into it, but see where it goes and try to watch the charts, and maybe we can catch it when it hits and before it starts going back up, you know. Yeah, definitely don't FOMO. Man, that fear of missing out, that gets people caught up a lot, you know? But it was a good weekend. Pretty awesome weekend. Not too bad. Um, I had a not really a hurt foot, but I had something going on with the top of my foot. I thought maybe I broke a bone in it, and so I did a bunch of stretching on it, and it's gotten better. Platinum OTG, yeah, I've been eyeballing platinum too. Uh, there's two things that go real fast over here at the LCS: platinum and Mexican gold. The dos pesos, you know the two and a half, and cinco pesos, and the 10 pesos. They all go, man. They go quick over here. Platinum does Platinum does all right, you know. Too, platinum's the other thing that doesn't stay in the showcase for very long. The 1 gram pamps. Yeah, I don't know. I think platinum's at a price to where you know the 10th ounces are the 1/10ths are still a pretty good deal, you know. I would like to get a full ounce, but I don't know. Captain, I keep it. There's got to be a watch place around there, a good jeweler's. I wouldn't take it to the mall or anything, K's or whoever, but there's got to be a good jeweler around there somewhere. I know we over here at the vault we do watch batteries, um, and some of them aren't easy. There's some crazy watches out there that it is not easy to get those batteries out and get a new one put back in. Mm. Get me some coffee going. Yeah. Yeah, I have checks, no doubt, huh? No, I just can't get all that technical talk in on it, you know. I don't know. I know the lingo. I don't really worry about a lot of it too much. Good morning, KYH. Man, the freaking dollar cost average. To be honest with you, I haven't worried about the dollar cost average for quite a while. And I might be mistaken in that. You know, I might not have the right mentality to that, but you know, when I started stacking, I could only pick up an ounce or two every 2 weeks. And that's when I decided that, you know what, I need to figure out a way to start making more money in order to put more metals away. And that's when I decided that donating plasma was the best way, right? Donating plasma, I can get all the money I need for metals. Yeah, it was about $100 a week for donating plasma, and I was getting quite a bit, actually. Oddly enough, back then I was getting, a pretty good stack going just from donating plasma. And what ended up happening is, I don't know, I've showed these before, I have scars on my arms from it, So I quit. But the mentality I had about buying silver and gold with plasma money was that it was free money, right? My body made it naturally. It wasn't doing me no harm. So there we go, man. I mean, that's the way I justified getting stuck in the arms and going through that, right? Was that it's like free money. So I would go and buy silver and gold with it. And in my mind, I decided that that means that since it was essentially free money, that the dollar cost average for those metals was next to nothing. So right or wrong or indifferent, that's the way I justified it. Oh, and I was helping sick people, right? I mean, that's the other thought process into that. Oh, we got horrible dust storms here. Few trees got blown over, but Dean R, good morning. But yeah, it was nasty storms over here. Dean, I mean, this is, I've been fortunate enough. See, I hardly ever take time off work. I mean, normally I lose a week or more of vacation time every year. And so Miss West Texas had some stuff she needed to run and do today, and I thought, well, I'm gonna see what I can do, and I'll stay home, and the kids have STAR testing over at one of the, since they're homeschooled, they have to go to a location here in Odessa to take the test. So she's not feeling too good. She's at her doctor's appointment right now, and when she gets back, and I think I gotta leave here at around 11 or so to take them to their test, I will go and do that, and that'll be my day. Now the missus ain't eating today, so I'm not gonna make a whole heck of a lot, but usually there's 5 of us, so you gotta, I mean, feeding a family of 5. I don't know, is a family of 5 that big nowadays? I mean, nowadays it seems like it's huge, but back in the day, a family of five was probably kind of small. Yeah, OTG, man, these storms, there's just, there's got to be something about them, you know? The girls last night loved their pet rock project and being live on it, you know. They really enjoyed that. Hey, Transit, good morning. Oh, weather manipulation. Yeah. You know, that's a funny story. You say that, you bring that up. Weather manipulation. See, I didn't believe in that trash. I didn't believe that the governments were out, or people were out manipulating the weather, and I just didn't believe it. Right? I mean, ever since I was a kid, I'd look up in the sky. There'd be a plane flying by, a jet, and you'd see the trail, and so when I'm hearing these chemtrails and cloud seeding and whatnot, I'm thinking, these people are full of it, man. What a bunch of baloney, right? And then that story from Dubai hit. You know, Dubai last year, Dubai flooded real bad because of cloud seeding, and yeah, that's kind of transit. And what was it? A pallet of chicken? Yeah, as long as it wasn't. I guess the processed chicken, after it leaves the facilities, I guess that wouldn't be so bad. Live chickens. Oh, pallet of lettuce. Oh man. Well, these potatoes are coming out nice, huh? No bacon this morning. No bacon. I wanted bacon. She didn't want bacon. Oh, you had to restack it. Well, the one thing you should be happy about, Transin, is at least you don't have to tarp loads, huh? I remember being on the road I would go on trips, take trips in the summertime with my dad, and he just did it with the flatbed trailer, and we would have a load of boards or lumber or load of something, and we would have to tarp the load. So I'd be up there with him, and it wasn't always fun. Those tarps would get heavy. Those tarps would get heavy now. Yeah, taters. You know potatoes ain't good for you, right? So I hear anyways. But now we're gonna do something different. Look at that. Wash them hands. I ain't gonna lie, I was a little bit frustrated yesterday. I still kind of am. I mean, there's yeah, Captain. Neither am I. You know, I watched a video. This fella took his cast iron pan and polished it up. Took all that stuff and polished it up, and it almost looked like a nonstick. I'm thinking about possibly doing the same. I'd definitely get another one and trying it. I mean, looks like it'd be interesting, but I wonder if it'd work the same. Techno TG, that Jimmy Dean's is expensive. This is the Owens brand. And I still got to find out where Owens brand is made from. Oh, transit. Man, that's awful, man. I'm sorry you had to go through that. Six Guinnesses a day, huh? Yeah, that's like frickin' motor oil. I forgot what year it was. We were in Okinawa. It was in the 90s, late 90s for sure. But we were in Okinawa during St. Patrick's Day, and we went to the Kadena Air Force Base, and they were having a big St. Patrick's Day, you know, festival and all that, and they were having some Guinness there, and wasn't too bad, but it was like $8 a cup. And back then, $8 for one beer was a lot. I mean, you could get a pitcher of beer in most places for $3. But, you know, such is life, right? Such is life. Anyone in the Birmingham, Alabama area? Oh, man. Hey, maybe Southeast Stackers, you know, give him a shout. He might be in the area. I don't know what part of Alabama he's from, but that's funny. That I'm pretty sure I've shared this story before, but my dad, he was going over there through California, but he was in Northern California. He just got done going over the pass there, and in Northern California over there by Shasta, and it was around December time, I remember. And all these Christmas tree trucks, it had rained down in the lower elevations, and when they started getting up there, the rain froze to the trees. Well, it made them overweight, right? Because for some reason, frozen water is heavier than regular water, right? Well, they didn't know what to do, these drivers, and heck, my dad had a little bit of room on his truck, so he gave them What do you give them? He gave them like $50 and loaded up. Oh God, probably 30 Christmas trees. And heck, we had a pretty dang good Christmas that year. The the only downfall to that was it was pretty goddamn cold, and he had me set up out across the street in this lot, freaking selling these Christmas trees for them. I mean, big, beautiful, beautiful Christmas trees. These, once they thawed out, they were just gorgeous Christmas trees. And over here in Tejas, you just don't get a good, real, fresh Christmas tree. You end up with some, and if you do, the goddamn pine needles start to, it's definitely a hazard to have in your house. Definitely. Yep, definitely. But it was good times. Good times. All that stuff's just learning experiences as a kid, I mean, so much fun. I miss those days. Definitely wish a lot more to my parents. A lot of kids don't understand that today. Hell, a lot of parents don't understand that, that it's important for your kids to listen. It's important for them to have structure. I can admit we're kind of guilty of it too. Our kids. I always had a bedtime. Always. Hey, put a chat, put a 1 in the chat if you had a bedtime as a kid. And if you didn't, put a 2. I mean, yeah, I did too. And yeah, all the way up until I left the house, I had a bedtime. Now, of course, when I was 17 years old or whatnot, my dad really, he enforced it, but he wasn't. If he came in the house and said bedtime, and I'm sitting there on the couch as a 17-year-old, and he said bedtime, well, I was getting up and I was going to bed. Because that's just the way it was. Nowadays, it's not like that, You tell a kid it's bedtime now, and at 12, and they're looking at you like, fool, who you think you talking to, fool? So, it's just kind of, well, even when I don't mean to make too much, I always seem to make too much. But this is, and I don't know, maybe it's because my dad was a boomer, and his way of teaching us was the way that his parents were with him. And not a bad thing, but people back then were taught to you go to bed early, you wake up early, and you go to school, and you do your schoolwork, and you do your chores, and you study hard, and you become a productive member of society, right? That was what was instilled in all of us. Well, most of us. But then you start thinking, and that's the way I am too. That's the way I want to be with my kids. Like, boom, 10 o'clock, bedtime. Whenever that, and I vividly remember this, whenever that MASH theme song started playing in the evening, that was the key. Go to bed. Right? So, um, we would. But, what if all this is by design? What if all this is to keep us programmed, or it was done as to program us into being good production workers, right? Little worker ants everywhere, scurrying here, scurrying there, pay the bills, go to work, wake up early, go to bed early. What if it was it's all by design, right? It's all by design. So, you know, so going to bed early and waking up early is just a way to conform to what they wanted us to be all along, and that was just little worker ants, right? Little worker bees out. So, I mean, there could be some truth to that, right? Yeah, LJ. LJ, for sure. Right? I mean, that's it. Right there. We're just. Yeah. And even when we don't think we're in debt, we're pretty much debt free, right? We're pretty good. We're did pretty good. We didn't always do good, but we got to a point where we're pretty much debt free, and yeah, we still owe. I mean, we still freaking nothing. Yeah, what would look real good in that? Some bacon, right? Fucking bacon would look awesome in that. No bacon. Oh yeah, programming. But I mean, owing and taxes and all that. It just. Oh yeah, bacon does look good and everything. But I mean, it's everything. We have been, in media plays a huge part in it. Like, for sure, all the way to the foods we eat, right? I mean, they came out with eggs. Eggs was what's causing, eggs and red meat were causing high blood pressure and heart disease and high cholesterol. It was eggs and red meat, right? Bacon, eggs, sausage, steaks, all this stuff was deemed bad for us. For what? So we could go on a plant-based diet? So we could go, oh, well, don't eat this, but eat the hell out of these sugary cereals. full of dyes. Feed them to your kids. You know, feed it just. And now what are we stuck with? We're stuck with obesity, which, you know, I suffer a little bit from, right? We got obesity's rampant. We got frickin' diabetes. Diabetes is just out of control. More younger kids being born with these horrible, like, health issues that you just didn't see 20 years ago. ADHD, you know, whatever the hell ADHD is, I don't know. But these kids are just being diagnosed with it left and right. In the meantime, society's telling them, drink this Monster, drink this energy drink. It's good for you. You know, meanwhile, the pharmaceutical companies are filling their pockets with freaking all these foul prescriptions that they're giving these kids, when the first thing any real doctor should say is, oh yeah, autism for sure. Oh man, it's going down pretty good, Ryan. But autism's up, all this stuff, man. And instead of these doctors sitting back and the first, you know, saying, why don't you try changing their diet? And more, not more along the lines with autism, but with ADHD and stuff like that, these attention deficit disorders. You know, instead of a doctor saying, hey, let's change his diet up, try less sugar, try less, you know, cereal and donuts, Pop-Tarts, whatever the heck they're getting fed, right, at home. They're not saying that. They're saying, here, kid, have some Adderall. That'll fix it. Meanwhile, these ADHD kids are struggling because they got, you know, they're taking their Adderall with Bang energy drink, you know, and it's crazy that that would be what they're prescribing, you know. It's like you think any good doctor would be like, you know what, change up their diet and see what that does for them. Oh yeah, LJ. Yeah, I just saw a thing about that. You know, the petroleum industry, synthetic medications and stuff. You know, that's wild to me. But I mean, it's what we grew up on. You know, and mind you, this is all generational now because. Back in the 40s and 50s, I believe it was the 50s, that's when the big push for high cholesterol and heart disease and all that came into play, right? That's when you had all these doctors saying, you know, don't eat eggs, don't eat red meats, but eat this sugar. So I remember my mom telling me that this stuff too, you know, that eggs were high in cholesterol, you know, so, but god dang, Frosted Flakes, because they were fortified with vitamins, were good. And what they really need now, they do for all these people For all these people that are on state assistance, I hope the kids like shells in their breakfast burritos. No, I got them. They need to go through. Ooh, there's one right there. Got it. They need to go through and really go through and put a limit on what people can buy with this stuff. Man, if you're on food stamps, you can only buy, you should only be able to buy nutritional foods. And on top, then there's that argument also with nutritional foods, man. Our food supply is so contaminated with all kinds of shit that what are we really eating, We got young girls that are developing at an age where, what am I doing here? There, that'll work. We got young girls that are developing a lot quicker. There, have another shell, kids. Because of what the kind of stuff they're putting in eggs, Because all the hormones and whatnot and all this other stuff that we're being told that needs to be put in our food, right? Yeah, OTG, I believe that. If I had the means, I would definitely be on a self-sustaining ranch. I remember I was born in Hereford, Texas, Deaf Smith County. And Deaf Smith County, Hereford, Texas, right? My grandparents had a little place out there. And we had a milk cow named Betsy, right? And my grandpa would go out there and milk the cow and come back. They would put the pitcher of milk in the refrigerator and let it sit till the cream rose to the top. My grandma would skim the cream off the top of the milk, and I think that should be enough eggs. And then they would fix me, whatever they needed with the milk. It was great. I always seem to overdo it for breakfast. Anyways. And there's a lot of lost arts. We were talking about last night when the kids were doing their thing, we were talking about talents, Mrs. West Texas talents, right? And she does a great job. Her job cannot be easy at all. Being a stay-at-home mom, being, especially with homeschool kids, being homebound with them most of the times. But there's other things, there's other things that younger women of the past generations were taught, like how to sew, had a canned food, had a baked bread. You know, the younger Mexican girls were taught how to make homemade tortillas. You know, I mean, it's just these things were all taught because back then it wasn't, you know, to go to the grocery store. Maybe you couldn't get to the grocery store, and you would have to learn how. You know, you would have to teach your daughters how to make these things from scratch. Here's the flour. Here's the stuff you need. You know, and I think we lost that as a society. Definitely lost that as a society. And look what's come about in return, right? I mean, it's a team game, right? Especially in a household, and it's the father's responsibility to teach his boys how to be good men, how to fix things, how to, you know, be self-reliant. Because as a man, we're taught this is what you have to do. Well, we used to be taught, you know, this is what you do. This is how you do it, and there ain't no backing out. You work hard, you know, and you provide, right? At least that's what was instilled in me. But the daughters, you know, the moms kind of role is to teach the daughters how to be good wives. You know, this is what you need to know how to do. This is how you do it, and so on and so on. Well, somewhere that chain got broke, and I think it started. Now this is my theory on it, and Miss West Texas, if she was hearing this, she would say I sound like a chauvinist, right? But going back to paying taxes, okay? Somewhere along the lines, somebody had a little light bulb moment go off in their head and decided that, you guys know what? Damn, that's a lot of food. You guys want to, hey, listen, let me let you in on this, okay? If we make it to where families can't thrive, where they can just barely survive on a single income, but there's no way for them to thrive because we're taking taxes from that single income, right? Y'all want to know a way we could get more taxes? Let's make it to where women have to work too. Let's make it to where every household needs to be a two-income household for them to even half-ass succeed at anything. Put a 1 or a 2 or an FU if that's making sense in the chat. Right? Now guess what they get to collect? They get to collect more taxes. Yeah, population control through tax collection. And it's sad. It is very sad because look at what it's done to us. You know, it's taken us from, you know, they want to talk about fatherless homes, right? Oh, the divorce rate is so high and there's these kids that don't have a father in the house and whatnot. Well, you know what? A lot of these kids, they don't have either parent in the house. And not because they're not present, it's because they're at work. Oh, no doubt checks. I don't know why. But there must have been a reason, right? But this is beyond that. I mean, this has been like this since, since the whole feminist movement, right? Hi, Happy Tiger. Oh, Happy Tiger. Maybe Happy Tiger. I don't know if Happy Tiger would agree with this. But it would be nice to have like a woman's perspective on this, like a woman's, what their thoughts are on this, like a panel, like a stay-at-home mom or a single childless career woman, or a working mom. This would be all great stuff for that. It's egg, potato, and sausage. And it's about done, and I'm going to get the no good tortillas out. See this? This is what we get now. It used to be that young Latina women would be making these homemade from scratch, right? Every morning. So, Happy Tiger, we were just talking about how it seems like this has all been set up, to go from a single income household to making it to where women would have to work for a household to succeed or become, have more financial stability. But also it was a extra, it was a way for extra taxes, for them to get, they double the tax, right? They say 2 paychecks are better than one. Well, when you're in a household that has 2 paychecks, then Uncle Sam's also getting 2 paychecks. Right? I mean, so I think that, honestly think that whole, that whole thing was just a big setup, right? It was a big setup so women would have to go to work. There would be more income taxes being paid. There would be, children pretty much being at home raising themselves because there's no parent in the house really now. Yeah, I don't know. That's just my thoughts and opinions. I may not be right. I may be full of shit, but all right, OTG. Catch you later, bro. But that's just my take on it. I think this country would be a lot better off if there was more stay-at-home moms, that were there to teach and guide their children instead of leaving it up to a establishment. If Happy Tiger's still in here and she agrees, put something down in the chat, please. But, what can we do, right? Get up and put our boots on and go to work. Oh yeah, happy, definitely, women stayed at home and men provided. And then somewhere along the ways, there was a change to where both men and women needed to go to work, and And I think that's been kind of the decline of this country, you know. I think if a woman wants to choose, you know, she should, you know, if she wants to be a career woman or a stay-at-home mom, I think the children need more stay-at-home moms now, you know. It's there's a lot of things that, you know, like I was saying, there's a lot of things that our grandparents taught our moms, you know. Our grandma taught our moms, you know, our great grandmas. It's just knowledge passed down from generations, you know, to like even to how to make homemade bread or homemade tortillas, you know. It's kind of a lost deal. Not very many people know how because it hasn't been passed down because there's no mom at home to pass it down. There's a mom at work. And I'm not saying this is every situation, but you know, just kind of the way it is now. And like I said, if Miss West Texas heard me, she would already been calling me a male chauvinist. But in no way, in shape or form, is being a stay-at-home mom easy. I mean, there's no way it can be easy, you know, because it's kind of, you know, I've been home for 2 days with the family, and I see what it's like. It's kind of a same day, same shit type situation. You know, the kids are going to get in little squabbles, they're going to make messes, and yeah. But I was raised that if the kid makes, you know, it didn't matter if the kid made the mess or not, the kid's cleaning. A lot of kids have less and less chores nowadays, too. Oh yeah, it would. I mean, Miss West Texas gets to stay home, and it's not always easy. It's not always easy financially, or you know, because she is a stay at home mom. But I try, like, you know, I try my best for her to be a stay at home mom and stay that way. Not saying that there aren't times where I'm like, wouldn't it be better if you went and got a job? But, you know, maybe it wouldn't. I mean, maybe it wouldn't be better. One would assume that it would be, but maybe that's not always the case. Right? So, I'm making breakfast for her son, our son, because he has STAR testing today, and he needs to have something good in his stomach before he goes. So oh, Michael, that's sweet. That's nice, man. I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you for even saying something like that. I try. I'm not the best. I'm not no dang, you know, but I try to make good meals for them when I can. And I'm gonna let y'all in on a little secret. I really don't know how to fold burritos, so this is what he's gonna get right there. There's burrito number one. Let me flip that tortilla. Delicious coffee. And there's the second one. I don't know if he wants two, but he's getting two because, you know, sometimes good food, you know, that's the other thing. Like I was talking about earlier with proper nutrition or better food, a better diet is, you know, I do believe that some of this food that we give our kids nowadays is actually making them dumber, you know, like energy drinks or Pop Tarts and just trash like that. It's probably actually making our kids not as smart. Oh yeah, no, I mean, see, and that's a great statement. Happy is because I want to teach my daughters how to be independent and how to not depend on a man. But I also want them to know how to be to know how to be good wives and good good mothers, you know. And Miss West Texas is an excellent mom. I'm not saying that about her, but you know, I want them to know that. You know, I want them to be able to, you know, when the time is right for them, I want them to be able to be good homemakers. Homemakers. It's a losing art to me. You know, it's a it's a dwindling skill, you know. But this is done. I am going to have the boy come eat. So we got about, I don't know, he's got a little bit of time to get there. But thank y'all for dropping in and saying good morning. It was nice having you all in the chat. We'll do this again. I'm definitely going to work tomorrow, and we will probably go live on Sunday. Y'all have a blessed day. Have a great week, and we'll see you later.